I am Jen, your pastor, and I would like to tell you a nice story this time. This is a really nice story. You know why? Well, today's story, it is a really awesome story. It's called Jacob Goes to Haran. And in this story, sometimes we learn, it's to teach you, sometimes we learn lessons from bad things that happen to us. Yeah. And so it's talking about, last week how we talked about the brothers and how he did what he did with his brother, how he deceived him. Yeah, and all for the right to be head of the family later and have the blessing of the family or of the dad. So Jacob had tricked his father and brother, actually, both of them. And his brother was so angry, and I'm sure you would be. He wanted to kill him. He wanted to kill him. Jacob's mother told him to leave and go to their family in Haran. He could find a wife there, and someday, when his brother was no longer angry, maybe he could come back. That's what he thought. So Jacob stopped for the night on his way to Haran, and he slept on the ground. Yeah. For a pillow, he laid his head on a stone. Wouldn't that hurt you? I mean, I think something fluffy like this. Wouldn't that be so much softer than a stone? What do you think? Right? He laid his head on a stone. When you sleep, do you ever dream? Yeah. Sometimes we have good dreams, and sometimes we have scary dreams. But Jacob had a beautiful dream. Yes, his dream, he dreamed that a stairway or a ladder reached to the ground all the way unto the heaven. Isn't that beautiful? And on that long stairway, he saw angels going up and down. And what do you think was on top of the ladder? God. Jacob heard God say, I am the God of your grandfather Abraham and your father Isaac. The ground you are lying on is yours. I will give it to you and your children and your children's children. Yes. So, you will be the father of a great nation. There will be many children, and they will populate this land. God also promised to be with Jacob's family and protect them. The next morning, Jacob got up very early. Ooh, you remember getting up early for school day, don't you? He got up very early. And placed the stone on which he'd been sleeping on its side. He put it on its side. Yeah. He poured olive oil on it and named the special place Bethel. He prayed, "Oh God, if you protect me and give me food and shelter on this journey, I will always remember you as the true God. This place will be a special place of remembrance." So, Jacob, now, he knew that God wanted him to be good. He would be the leader of a very big family. Someone from his family would bring blessings to the whole world. He knew he was not alone and that God was with him. When Jacob finally arrived in Haran, all his relatives were happy to see him. Jacob met his uncle Laban's beautiful daughter, Rachel, and her older sister, Leah. Yeah, Rachel was beautiful. Jacob worked hard helping Laban tend his sheep after he had been there a month. Yeah. Laban wanted to know how much he should pay Jacob. Jacob had fallen in love with Rachel. Jacob. So he had an idea. He told Laban that he would work for him for 7 whole years. Yeah. And at the end of that time, Laban could give Rachel to Jacob as a wife. Laban agreed. After 7 years, the time came for Jacob and Rachel to get married. Do you remember how Jacob had been deceitful and played a trick on his father and to his father Isaac? Now Jacob was the one that was tricked. Yeah, Jacob thought he was marrying Rachel, but Laban switched the brides. Instead of Rachel, Laban gave his older daughter Leah to Jacob. Jacob could not see Leah, so he thought he was marrying Rachel. The next morning, when the sun came up, Jacob saw that his new wife was Leah. Jacob was very angry with Laban. But Laban said it was unfair for the younger sister to be married before the older. Then Laban had an idea. He would let Jacob marry Rachel too. Men in those days sometimes had more than one wife. I guess they needed more than one wife to have more babies or something. I guess a lot of work too to be done by women in those days. Laban said that Jacob could marry Rachel now, but he would have to work another 7 years in exchange. So that's altogether like 14 years. Jacob agreed. He really liked Rachel, huh? Rachel and Jacob got married, but Jacob always loved Rachel the most. As the years went by, Jacob's family grew. Leah had a number of children, but many years passed before Rachel finally had children. Eventually, Jacob became the father of 12 sons. 12. And he had one daughter out of all of those. He did not always obey God. Some of the children were born to his wives, and some were born to his wives' servants. Yeah, sounds like some adultery right there. And what that means is, God does not like it. It's a sin. So he was being bad with the servants. Laban did not like it when Jacob said God wanted him to take his family and return to where he had come from. Jacob agreed to stay and work for a few more years. Jacob only had a few sheep, but he tricked Laban and made sure he had many sheep before the time came to leave. God told Jacob it was time to go. Laban was angry, but Jacob and his family left anyway. Well, it's not very good to trick people. I don't know. Seems like Jacob's getting more and more in trouble. Before Jacob arrived at his old home, he had a visit from God in the form of an angel. The angel wrestled with Jacob. The angel told Jacob that he was a fighter, and so his name would no longer be Jacob, but would be changed to a new name that suits a fighter. His new name would be called Israel. Jacob was very afraid to meet his brother Esau again. Esau had been very angry with him all those years ago. Jacob sent servants ahead of him with many gifts for Esau. Jacob even bowed down to Esau when he saw him. But Jacob did not need to be worried. Esau ran up to his brother and hugged him. Big hugs. He was so happy to see Jacob. Jacob was home now. Back when Jacob had the dream about the staircase, God had told him that he would watch over him. Sometimes good things happen in Jacob's life, and sometimes bad things happened. Every time, in good and bad, God kept his promise and took care of Jacob. Yeah, he did. God took care of Jacob, and God can take care of you. You believe him. You believe him when he says he's taking care of you. He's taking care of you. All you have to do is pray to him, believe in him, and just go by commandments. And make sure that you listen around you. Well, friends, that was our story. Jacob goes to Haran. I told you it would be fun. He wrestled with an angel. He got, 2 wives instead of 1. I mean, that was an awesome story. So I'm going to go ahead and go over some things, friends, before we go to Dave. Now, let's see. One thing I want you to look into, kids, if you got your Bible, or International Children's Bible, Genesis 29:31 talks about the bargains, the tricks, and deception all play a part in the lives of Laban and Jacob and Jacob's wives. Now, Jacob's family grows, but with much angst and sorrow. His wives are jealous of each other and even barking over the nights they can spend with their husband. A lot of jealousy when you have more than one, huh? And for good reason. Only have one. Okay. They connived to have children by Jacob and even offer the servant girls to him. 20 years after leaving his home, Jacob now has 2 wives, 2 maidservants who mothered some of his children, and 11 sons and 1 daughter. His last son will be born after he returns to the place of his birth. Yep. God commands Jacob to leave and return to his home, but Laban attempts to squeeze even more years out of him. Yep, Jacob uses his knowledge of animal husbandry to trick Laban and accumulate large herds of animals. As if all of this was not enough, okay, Rachel steals from her father. As the family sneaks away from Laban to return to Beersheba, where Jacob had came from. Okay, an angry Laban follows, and Laban and Jacob finally come to make a kind of treaty and separate. Okay, so that's to go more into detail. So, like I said, this is from the Children International Bibles. So you can go into that with the chapters, and it can explain more. I do enjoy the stories, though. They're wonderful stories. And I can't wait to share another one next week. Go say hi to Dave for me. Bye, friends.
Neha, it is I, Dave the Donkey. And today's verse is, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews 13:8. And that's today's verse, kids. See y'all next time with another verse of the day. Neha.